Hi and welcome. Today's class is a little different than what I normally do. I tend to either we're dynamic vinyasa or we're yin, super gentle. Today's practice is somewhere in between. We are going to do poses that we're really familiar with, and we're going to hold them a little longer than we normally do in a vinyasa class. So this is an opportunity to really kind of notice, how do you do with these familiar poses? What do you do when they become a little more intense? You stay there a little longer, but it's also a great opportunity to observe yourself. Can you stay present in those familiar poses? I tend to make it a little easier for you guys that we move a lot. We add weird and wonderful movements because it's an invitation to stay present. Now we're going to step it up and we're going to stay in the poses for a little bit longer. So come to a comfortable seat. Just going to tune in, take a moment to close your eyes, start breathing through your nose. Deepen the breath. Feel your belly expand and contract. And blink your eyes open. Start circling your torso, get that movement to your spine. Change direction, go the other way. And come to center. Make your way onto all four. And take a few cat-cows. Again, we're just tuning into the body. We're becoming present, noticing the movement. Notice how your body feels. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. And you're can walk it out. Checking in with that down dog again. Right now we're just kind of turning our attention to our body. Getting a little bit of warmth, a little bit of stretching. Start noticing how your downward dog looks like right now. The heels on the mat, maybe, maybe not. Maybe a little bit of bend in your knees feels good and you're going to keep it. It's all good. How does the shoulders feel? Inhale, lift your right leg up. Step forward, come into a lunge. Reach your arms up and put a little bit of bend in that back knee. While at the same time still reaching through your back heel. Still breathing into the belly. So focus on that breath. And as we start to stay here a little longer than we normally do, now it's time to observe yourself. What is your reaction? What is your physical reaction? Maybe your body is starting to go, wait a minute, why are we still here? Maybe mentally, it's like, oh my God, it's getting a little harder. Maybe your mind is starting to travel and it becomes a little more difficult to stay in your body because we're stagnant. You just start thinking about that grocery list. And if that's you, that's okay that you lose it, but always bring it back. So come back into your body. Maybe think, can I pull that right thigh bone into my hip socket? You're squaring the hips, get a little bit of engagement in that right leg. And take your hands down to the mat. Step back to plank pose. Vinyasa, your version. So remember, that might just involve you stepping back to a down dog. And we're going to stay in this down dog for 10 breaths. Slow, deep breathing. And lift your left leg up. Step forward. Come into your lunge. Okay, put a little bend in that back knee. Bringing your attention to your breath again. Take it as an opportunity for self-observation rather than letting your mind travel. So even though we're so familiar with this pose, we're going to keep observing what the pose does to our body. Put a little bit of engagement into that right glute. And hands to the mat, step to plank, Vinyasa. Inhale, lift your right leg up. Step forward, come into a warrior one this time. So back foot is down at an angle. Reach your arms up. Again, we're looking to square the hips. So make sure you keep that back leg nice and engaged. If you're just hanging out here, you often end up starting to twist the knees simply to square the hips, and we want to avoid that. And we do that by supporting all the joints with muscular engagement. Also notice if you got those lower ribs are starting to flare out, just gently use your exhale, move your belly button towards the front of the spine. And then come into a warrior 3 airplane. Make sure you're engaging that back body, opening up the front body a little bit. Get your drishti. Find that spot in front of you where you can focus your gaze on. Helps with your balance. Step back to a downward facing dog. Make sure you're actively pressing your hands into the mat. Imagine the top of your sit bones is kind of moving up and back. Get a little bit more length in your spine, a little more lightness, and in your hands actually, even though you're still pressing your hands actively into the mat, you get a bit of lightness in the front. You now lift your left leg up, step forward, come into warrior one. Warrior three airplane. Again, find that drishti. Keep breathing. Notice if your mind starts traveling, bring it back. It's a chance to befriend yourself through your practice with these intentional holds. Step back to downward facing dog. And lift your right leg up. Step forward, come into warrior two. Make sure you're pressing both of your feet into the mat. And there's some activity in your hamstring and glute on this front leg. So you're opening up the hip with that right leg, and that means glute engagement. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. Your version, hand on the block, hand on the mat, hand on your, or forearm on your thigh. Whatever's working for you. Remember, you're staying here a little longer. Keep pressing into your back foot. Strong back leg. And walk your hands to the left, come into a wide-legged forward fold. A little bit of engagement in your glutes, nice active feet. Make sure you got a little bit of softness in your shoulders and neck. Inhale, lengthen. Pivot your left toes. So you're facing the, or you're moving to the back of your mat now. And come into warrior two on the other side. Again, just making sure you got that engagement in your hamstring and your glute on that front leg. Nice active back leg, so you're actively pressing into that back foot. It's a very, very active pose, and it's hard to hold it. So you might be shaking a bit, and that's okay. Reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. Get that length going through your body. You're still lengthening the left side of your rib cage. And walk your hands to the right, come into your wide-legged forward fold again. lengthen. Walk your hands to the front of your mat. Step forward. And lower your butt down to the ground. Lower your back down. Keep your knees bent. And lift up into a bridge pose. And lower back down. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Thread the needle, come into a reclined pigeon. Try and keep your shoulder blades on the mat, your sacrum on the mat. And release. Other side. And release. And take both of your knees to your chest, curl into a little ball. And then finish up off with a nice little reclined twist. Take your arms out to the side, legs over to one side. Try and melt both of your shoulder blades into the mat. And come back to center. Other side. And come back to center. Find your Shavasana. Let your whole body relax. And now you can let your mind travel. Relax your breath. And stay here as long as you need. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.